You're sitting quietly. Nothing is happening. Maybe you're drinking coffee, staring out a window, doing something completely ordinary. Then a memory hits. A moment you were humiliated. An argument that went too far. Something you've wished 1,000 times you could erase. And immediately, your heart beats faster. Your hands tremble slightly. Your breath goes shallow. Your body responds as if it's happening right now, even though it was years ago. You ask yourself, is something wrong with me? Why can't I just let it go? Why does everyone else seem fine while I'm still stuck here? The answer isn't about willpower. It lives in a truth that modern neuroscience and ancient spiritual traditions have both seen for a long time, but almost none of us have ever been told directly. And here's the thing, there is one specific moment inside the journey of a bad memory, one window that if you understand it, everything changes. I'm going to save it for the end, and honestly, it might change the way you see yourself forever. Have you ever noticed, same event, but the second time you remember it, your body reacts more intensely than the first time it actually happened? Be honest, there are memories you've processed in your head dozens of times, and yet every time they return, it still feels like touching an open wound. Most people think memory works like a video file. You press play, watch it, then close it. The emotions attached are just an echo fading naturally over time, like the last reverberation of a sound dissolving into silence. But here's what's actually happening inside your brain. When you recall a bad memory, your brain doesn't play back a saved file. It reconstructs the event from scratch by reactivating nearly the same neural networks that fired on the day it actually happened. The amygdala, your brain's threat processing center, cannot distinguish between "this is happening" and "I'm remembering this." To it, the danger signal is identical, and it immediately activates the HPA axis, flooding your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline, exactly as it would if you were facing a real threat right now. A 2018 study from Harvard University, published in Nature Neuroscience, found that when participants simply thought about a past stressful situation, their physiological responses, heart rate, cortisol levels, sympathetic nervous system activation, were nearly indistinguishable from when they were experiencing actual stress. Not similar, nearly identical. From your brain's perspective in that moment, it has no concept of "that's over." It only has two states, safe and not safe. A bad memory, with its emotional charge still fully intact, is the most convincing evidence your brain has that the danger is still real. So it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It sounds the alarm. Your heart doesn't race because you're weak. Your heart races because your brain is protecting you from a threat it genuinely believes is present, using the only data it has. Have you ever tried to think positively about something painful and completely failed? Be honest. You understand the logic. You tell yourself, "That's over, I'm fine, it's not worth carrying anymore." But your body won't listen. Your shoulders stay tight. Your stomach still clenches. Your heart still skips when the memory arrives. Many people believe that to heal a bad memory, you just need to work through it. Mentally analyze it carefully, understand the causes, forgive whoever was involved, then move forward. Make the mind strong enough and the emotions will follow. But here's what's actually happening, and it explains why that approach so often fails. Neuroscientist Bessel van der Kolk spent over 30 years studying this. In his landmark work, The Body Keeps the Score, 2014, he demonstrated that traumatic memory is not stored primarily in the thinking cortex, where language and reason operate. It's stored in the autonomic nervous system, in muscle tissue, in visceral reflexes, in the pattern of your breath. That's why you can fully understand something painful with your mind, and your body still won't believe it. Because the wound doesn't live where logic can reach. The wound isn't in the story you tell about it. It's in the way your body learned to survive it. This isn't something only modern neuroscience has seen. The Lakota, one of the largest indigenous nations of North America, hold a concept called Wikozani, total well-being, inseparable between body and spirit. In their healing traditions, Ceremonies don't ask the person being healed to explain or understand their pain in words. Instead, the body is guided through movement, breath, sound, the rhythm of drums, because they understood that what enters through the body must leave through the body. There is no shortcut through the mind. What modern science calls somatic memory, the Lakota call knowledge held in bone and flesh across generations. Two different languages, the same truth. If you've tried to think your way out of a bad memory and failed, that's not your failure. That's you using the wrong tool for the right problem. Have you ever tried not to think about something and had it appear more vividly than ever before? Be honest. The harder you push it away, the harder it pulls back. The more you tell yourself, stop thinking about it, the sharper it becomes, the closer it feels, the heavier it gets, as if the avoidance itself is what's feeding it. Most people believe the way to handle a bad memory is to avoid it. Don't bring it up. Don't think about it. Fill your time with work and noise until it fades. Stay busy long enough and the memory will dim like everything else. But here's what's actually happening, and it runs completely against what we assume. In 1987, psychologist Daniel Wegner at Harvard conducted his now famous white bear experiment. He asked participants to not think about a white bear for 5 minutes. The result? They thought about the white bear more than twice as often as the group given no instruction at all. He called this ironic process theory. The brain must constantly check, am I thinking about X right now? And the very act of checking activates X. The effort to suppress creates a self-defeating loop. With bad memories, this mechanism is even more powerful. Because those memories are tagged with cortisol and adrenaline, the exact chemicals the brain uses to mark something as, "This matters, don't forget this." Every time you try to avoid the memory, the brain stamps it again. Important, stay alert, unresolved. Avoidance, in a literal biological sense, is reinforcing the very thing you're trying to erase. Tibetan Buddhism calls this state Shenpa, often translated as attachment, but the original meaning is more precise. It's the hook in the mind, the pull that drags you into a memory or emotion regardless of what you want, like a magnet you cannot switch off. In this philosophy, Shenpa is not a sign of weakness. It's a signal that something hasn't been seen clearly yet. Not avoided, not analyzed, simply seen with steadiness, without judgment. Because the brain was not designed to forget what it considers important, it was designed to complete what feels unfinished. A bad memory doesn't fade because you avoid it. It fades when the brain receives a signal. This threat has been resolved. No more vigilance needed. Avoidance doesn't close the loop. It just extends it, 1 day, 1 year, 1 decade at a time. This is the thing fewest people know in this entire video, and it will change the way you look at your bad memories, not just for what happened, but for what keeps happening every time you revisit them. Do you think memory is fixed? That what happened has been recorded in your brain? Accurate, unchanging, like a photograph locked in permanent storage? Be honest. Most people believe memory is a faithful record of events. You remember what happened, and that's the truth of it. Memories may fade over time, but their nature is stable. But here's what's actually happening at the molecular level inside your brain. Every time you access a memory, it becomes editable for roughly 4 to 6 hours afterward. This is called memory reconsolidation. Your brain doesn't retrieve the original file to play back. It downloads the memory into a fluid state, then rewrites it. And what gets written back is shaped by your current emotional state, your current context, what you currently believe about yourself and the world. Memory is not a museum. It is a living organism, shifting its shape every single time you touch it. Research by Karim Nader at New York University in 2000, published in Nature, and replicated by dozens of laboratories, demonstrated this in both animals and humans. When the reconsolidation process was interrupted immediately after a fear memory was reactivated, the memory didn't fade, It disappeared entirely at the neural level. Not suppressed, the synaptic connection no longer existed. This means your bad memory is not a fixed truth about the past. It is the most recent version of that truth, colored by every time you've remembered it, every emotion that came with it, every story you've quietly told yourself about it. Every time you revisit it in pain, you aren't just reliving it, you are rewriting it, slightly deeper, slightly heavier. In Hindu philosophy, particularly the school of Advaita Vedanta, there is the concept of Maya, often translated as illusion. But the deeper meaning is this: what we perceive is not absolute reality. It is a construction of the mind, filtered through experience, emotion, and ego. Memory, in this sense, is not a window into the past. It is a mirror reflecting the current state of your mind. You don't remember the event. You remember your feeling about the event, and that feeling is changing every day without you knowing it. Neuroscience and Vedanta are saying the same thing in two different languages. Memory is not a museum. It is a living thing. And that means you have far more power than you ever believed over what that memory continues to do to you each day. Have you ever felt ashamed for still being hurt by something, even though you know you should be over it by now? Be honest. Other people have moved on. Time has passed. Your rational mind understands there's nothing left to hurt about. But the emotion won't follow the logic, and that refusal makes you feel like something is wrong with you. Many people believe that negative emotions about bad memories are a sign they're not strong enough, not mature enough, not peaceful enough. Emotion is an obstacle to overcome, a weakness to correct, something truly grown adults have learned not to be controlled by. But here's what's actually happening, and it reverses completely the way you see your own feelings. Emotions are not the truth, but emotions are information. They are the oldest signaling system in the body, older than language, older than self-reflection, older than abstract reasoning. Lisa Feldman Barrett, professor of neuroscience and psychology at Northeastern University, argues in How Emotions Are Made that emotions are not fixed automatic reactions. They are the brain's predictions about what the body needs. The brain is constantly asking, what does this situation resemble from before? What should I prepare for? And it uses emotional memory as its training data. A bad memory with a still powerful emotional charge is a signal that your brain is still using that event as evidence about how the world works. It hasn't updated, not because you're weak, but because it hasn't received new evidence yet. In the Theravada Buddhist tradition, there is the concept of Vedana, feeling tone, the quality of pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral that accompanies every experience. Not complex emotion, just the root signal. Move toward or pull away, safe or dangerous. Vipassana meditation teaches practitioners not to analyze Vedana, not to interpret it, not to flee from it, just to observe it with complete equanimity. Because when you observe without reacting, the old loop breaks. The brain learns something it has never been taught. This sensation is not dangerous. I can be with it without needing to act. And when the brain learns that, it stops sounding the alarm. Painful emotion is not the enemy. It is the messenger. The problem isn't the emotion itself. It's that we were never taught how to listen to it without being swept away, how to stand beside it instead of drowning inside it. Remember at the beginning when I said there's one specific moment inside the journey of a bad memory, one window that, if you understand it, changes everything? Here it is. Science calls it the reconsolidation window. In the roughly 10 to 20 minutes immediately after a memory is recalled, it is in its most fluid state, most open to being rewritten, most ready to receive new meaning. This isn't theory. This is a biological mechanism confirmed by hundreds of human studies and forms the foundation of modern therapeutic approaches like EMDR and memory reconsolidation therapy. But here's what most of us do during that window. We dive into analysis. We retell the story the old way. We blame ourselves, or we try to push the memory away. And each time we do, we are rewriting that memory with the same painful emotions, the same old story, the same message that the threat is still real. We are unconsciously reinforcing the very thing we most want to escape in the exact moment the brain has opened a window to change it. Ancient spiritual systems understood this in their own way. The ancient Egyptians held the concept of Ib, the heart, as a separate spiritual entity, the place that stored not just memory, but the moral weight of experience. In the Book of the Dead, the heart is weighed after death, not to measure sin, but to measure the burden not yet released. What they understood was this: it is not what happens to you that shapes your journey, it is the weight you keep choosing to carry. The reconsolidation window is an opportunity, not to erase the memory, not to pretend it didn't happen, but to sit with it while it's still soft and ask a different question. I survived this. I'm here. What does that say about me? That's not a philosophical question. That is new data you are feeding your brain in the exact moment it is most ready to receive it, in the moment the memory is open, not closed. Your brain can't tell the difference between the past and the present, not because it's broken, but because it is trying to protect you using the only data it trusts. And the one piece of data it doesn't yet have is proof that you survived, that you're sitting here, breathing, reading these words, that the worst moment in your memory didn't end you. The question isn't how to forget. The question is, the next time that memory comes back, which side of it will you stand on? Pulled under, or standing beside it, watching it soften, remembering that you already walked through it once. And you did.